Welcome to Koco's Corner. I am the huge one, Dave Koco from kocosports.com or kocosports.net. It takes you to the same place, kocosports.net. It's your home for combat sports. It's where the world comes to kick ass, and above all, where it's okay to be a passionate fan. This is our TNA Impact Weekly Wrestling Review. Please, down in the comments, put win, loss, or tie what you thought of the show. For TNA fans, I apologize. This is a little bit late. Rob and Boom Boom want to do a Survivor Series preview, so please check that out. Also on the channel, we are trying to expand the reviews and the news that we do on here. Before we break it down, of course, let's talk about it. It's been rumored for a while. It's been talked about for a while, but now it is official. TNA announces Destination America as their new home of Impact Wrestling. I don't know much about this channel because I've been living in Japan for the last few years, but I believe it's Discovery Network owns it, and it's not. There's some good things and bad things. One, they are guaranteed to be on television for 2 more years, so that's a great thing. TV deals. I don't know. A lot of Impact fans and TNA fans were so confident this TV deal was going to happen. It wasn't that big a deal, but television deals, they kill companies if you don't have it. So this is a huge deal, and I was always concerned about how little the TNA fans were like, oh, no, don't worry, everything's going to work out fine. I'm like, no, until it's official, you should worry. You should panic. But now the panic should be down. Destination America, though, is a smaller channel. It's in probably half the homes is Spike TV. That's not an exact number, but there are a lot of places in America you can't get Destination America. But Destination America is going to be behind TNA all the way, so they say. Of course, that's how it always works out. TNA will have access to more shows, and they're going to try to build the network around TNA. So we could be getting more TNA, but also less eyeballs could be seeing it, and they've been stuck at the same ratings, like somewhere between it's around the 1.0. They've been dancing around the 1.0 for a real long time on Spike Television. So I hope it doesn't hurt the ratings too much. I'd like to see more TNA. And this is the last, I guess, not live, but last original content, I guess is the word I'm looking for. It's the last original content on Spike TV. After this, to December, I believe, 24th, don't quote me on that. Give me a couple days. I've been punching ahead a lot. I don't have the best memory. But up until late December, it's just going to be best ofs. I hope they can advertise Destination America on their show. I hope Spike does that. Television, big companies like this could sometimes be petty. But Spike TV did give an official statement. I'll read it, and it is kind of a compliment turned into a backhand compliment afterwards. The following statement was issued on behalf of Spike TV. Our partnership with TNA Wrestling will officially come to an end. Our last telecast on December 24th. Look at that. Improving the memory. Who says I'm a punch-drunk fucking Marine? Dixie Carter and her team have been incredible partners to work with over the past 9 years. And you know what? TNA has had its ups and downs, but just try to remember the good times. I'm a little sentimental tonight about the TNA and the last one on Spike. To go back on to Spike. Delivering high-action entertainment and strong ratings. I don't know about strong ratings, but Spike's being nice. But as Spike continues to evolve into a network, reaching a broader audience, we continue to look across our schedule to find opportunities to add original scripted and non-scripted programming that appeal to a wider demographic. That's a bit of a slap in the face. On behalf of everyone at Spike, we would like to wish Dixie and TNA all the best and continued success. And that was from Kevin K., President Spike TV. And, a lot of times television networks do horrible things and all that, but the Spike TV really did them a favor. They could have just canceled it, kicked them off, not let them shop around. Spike TV, it sucks that Impact was canceled, the TNA was canceled, but at least Spike was, for television, how television works, was really decent about it. So now, hopefully, Destination America, if you have Destination America, you're in luck. If not, it's a pirate's life for you. Yeah, so there you go. And the big thing about this deal is they're going to be on television for 2 more years guaranteed. That's huge. Another big thing about this is that they're going to be behind it and they might be able to have more programming. The only bad thing is not many people know what Destination America is, and it's not in all the households. So that's going to be a little bit scary right there as far as ratings go and stuff. So hopefully they could survive. Hopefully they could do better. And hopefully, the last couple of weeks have been up and down, but starting from about September, I believe the shows have been really good. I'm pretty hard on TNA. I'm pretty hard on pro wrestling. I'm a bit of a dick. I'm not positive Petey. And I think from September to the last couple weeks, they've been really doing good. So hopefully they keep it up. And I've been saying this, and I know a lot of TNA fans don't agree, but I think when TNA has less money, the product is better. When TNA has money, they go after the Hardys, the Lashleys, the Angles. But when they don't have money, they have to create stars and all that. And hopefully they do good. You got Jarrett's promotion coming up. You got Lucha Underground. And you got Ring of Honor, who's still kind of growing. Is going through some growing pains as far as being on a television network. So they have a lot more competition for number 2. WWE is stubborn. And they're going to be like, this is the product we're giving you. Fuck you. It's for the kids. I don't care what demographics say. We're going to hide behind the kids. That's WWE's stance on everything. So it would be nice to see Jarrett, Lucha Underground, Ring of Honor, and Impact battle for number 2. And hopefully all 4 of them will bring each other's game up. Because the one thing about TNA is a lot of people shit on it, and I'm one of those when it's bad. But when TNA is good, it's really good. And when TNA is bad, it's really bad. So hopefully, less main event mafias, less aces and eights, and more, AJ Styles, Christopher Daniels, Samoa Joe, more moments like that. So, yeah. Overall, let's talk about TNA Impact. That was a huge piece of news that we couldn't skip over. I know we've mentioned that Destination America on the site. I know we've mentioned it on the podcast, but the reality is it's official now. So I'm excited for that. Overall, I'm going to give this a win, but I'm feeling a little, it's an end of an era. I'm a little bit of a softie tonight. I'm going to give him a pass. But please, in the comments, tell me what you thought, win, loss, or tie. All right. So now we come down to breaking this down. Let's break it down. It starts off with a Bobby Roode promo. He cuts a decent, Bobby Roode. He can really work a mic. He cuts a promo about how he's got friends. His friend Eric Young, his best friend, was attacked and injured. Austin Aries is a great wrestler he respects, and he did it. And then he calls Lashley out and says, I'm not going to defend my title, but we're going to fight tonight. And they start brawling across the arena, and the security tries to break them up. It was a pretty decent opening promo, and I'm glad. I was hoping at EC3, because I knew there was going to be a break in between television. I was kind of hoping that EC3 would be the champion, and then Bobby Roode would be chasing it on the new network. But Bobby Roode is probably one of the most respectable wrestlers TNA has. He's one of the originals. He can wrestle. He can cut a promo. He's been there since day one. I don't know if he's been there since day one, but he's been there very, very early from Team Canada days. And it's good to have a champion that you can get behind. And that to me is Bobby Roode. So, bam. We go into the first match. I shit on this girl a lot. I saw her live at Bound for Glory in Tokyo, and I was like, what the fuck is this girl got? Havoc. I'm like, she's the champ. What the fuck does she bring to the table? Havoc at Bound for Glory probably had one of the worst women matches I've ever seen live in person that's not on Independence. But this match was really amazing. It was a great 3-way match. Taryn Terrell won, just huge surprise. I thought she was a diva. I thought she was a leftover from WWE, and she was a gem, And then Gail Kim, I believe she's the best woman in professional wrestling outside of Japan. I don't know. Gail Kim, Kana, there's a lot of great matchups you could have in Japan. That's why I was a little heartbroken that Gail Kim didn't come to the Bound for Glory show. But this was a 3-way match, and it was just amazing. And Havoc, I didn't understand the indie hype. I didn't understand, like, oh, she's good. But today, I think she held her own. I thought all 3 women really, really just held their own and did amazing things. And the best part about this match is Taryn Terrell gets Gail Kim for the 3 count, becomes new knockout champion. So Havoc is still considered a monster, and Gail Kim has nothing but credibility. And Taryn Terrell, I thought for sure she was just going to be a diva, and no, she's an amazing women's wrestler. And, what a pleasant surprise she has been. So Taryn Terrell is the women's champion, and I bet this feud will probably pick up in a couple months, and we'll see who it goes on from there. And the best part is Havoc isn't destroyed as far as her monster push goes. So it was a really good match. Next, you had Kenny King versus Chris Melendez. Veteran Chris Melendez, he has one leg, and people were going absolutely crazy chanting USA. Pretty hot crowd. Kenny King, I love him, and he's probably one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet, but is playing a heel so perfectly. And I just really enjoyed these matches and this feud, and I'm just glad that I like this feud a lot. I really do, because I was worried that the veteran Chris Melendez was just going to be a publicity stunt. And with this match and this feud, it shows that, no, they're going to treat him like a legit wrestler. And as a veteran, I really appreciate that. There's too many companies that just use veterans as publicity stunts. They're treating him as a real wrestler. And I've been wanting Kenny King to be pushed to the moon for a real long time. I think Kenny King is probably one of the most talented athletes they have, and I'm just really high on Kenny King. And I'm really like this feud. I like it a lot. The only one I don't really like out of it is what's his name? Damn it, I'm trying to think. Mr. Anderson. I just think Mr. Anderson has lost 87 steps and isn't the same wrestler he used to be. But it looks like Chris Melendez is going to get the win. And MVP runs in and just attacks him with a chair. And attacks him pretty brutally. MVP was really putting over how much of a heel he was. But Mr. Anderson rushes in the ring to save him. And it's really interesting. And it's one of those things that a lot of these feuds, the tag team division, the X division, the women's division to a point, a lot of these feuds and teams and situations, storylines, let's say storylines, a lot of these storylines, I believe they need a break. You're like, all right, let's regroup the X division in a couple months. Let's regroup the tag team division in a couple months. I think, for the X division and tag team, it's a perfect time to go on break. And even the women a little bit. But for this, it's like, what the fuck? I got to wait 2 months? What's going to happen with Kenny King and Chris Melendez? I can't wait to see what happens. So I think TNA having a little bit of a break is a good thing because they can regroup, but there's a couple storylines. I want to see what happens next week, and the Kenny King storyline is one of them. Here's another one that the storyline that I enjoy from top to bottom. I thought they should have stayed friends forever, and I did not get my wish, and now they're enemies, and they're still great. I think EC3 and Spud are the definition of sports entertainment. I really enjoyed it. Basically, he said, let's fight. Spud comes out. He says, he tries to trick him. He's like, I'm not going to punch you, Mr. Carter. I'm going to kick you in the balls. And they start brawling. But, EC3 is a lot bigger. So EC3 just beats him down. EC3 had a little bit of blood on him. And so his blood was leaking out. It was pretty interesting. But he beats him to a pulp. And Spud tries to keep getting up. And then they bring in, what's his name? Tyrus? All right, I forget his new name. I'm sorry, Tyrus. The Funkasaurus. Tyrus comes in and beats the hell out of him. So I enjoy this storyline. I'd like to see where it goes. I personally think EC3 is the best heel they got. I think he's the main eventer. I think where the money feud on Destination America or American's Destination or their new channel, the new version of Impact Wrestling version 5. EC3 and Bobby Roode need to be like, that's what your money's at. Don't go with former WWE guys that change nothing about themselves. Don't go with guys that are just there to collect a paycheck. Go with guys that are really bringing the entertainment, the character, the effort. And I think EC3 should be the top heel right now. I'm a little heartbroken that he doesn't have the title. I thought he'd be the perfect guy to be on a new channel as the champion. But there, you can't complain about Bobby Roode. Then you have a hardcore match. You had Tommy Dreamer versus Bram, and everyone and their mother ran in on this one. It was pretty enjoyable if you like hardcore matches. It seemed a bit indie, a bit old school, nothing too amazing. But Tommy Dreamer, got his head stuck in barbed wire, and they did some cool spots with a cheese grater and stuff. I don't know. It was above average hardcore wrestling. I don't think it was good hardcore wrestling, just above average. And you had Al Snow run in to make the save. Because Magnus ran in first, and then it was Magnus and Bram beating the hell out of Tommy Dreamer, and then Al Snow made the save. Al Snow looking like $1 million. Hopefully, and I keep saying the new version of TNA, but when TNA comes back from their winter break, hopefully Al Snow will be a bigger part of it, because I'm a big fan of Al Snow. He's a real funny guy, and he's easy to root for, and now he's in such great shape, and it'd be interesting to see where it goes. I'm not a big fan of Bram, but it was a pretty decent hardcore match. I have to give it credit for that. Boom. All right. I got a couple more stuff. The X Division Championship match, I really shit on this last week, Samoa Joe. I still shit on it. The thing is, you have Samoa Joe and you have the American Wolves. They got injury problems. And I don't know how long they knew about this television problem, but they should have just fucking hit it. I mean, they got like 3 months. Samoa Joe, it does an injury storyline, then a couple months later goes to Tokyo and steals the show. I don't fucking get it. I don't get it. I think Samoa Joe should have kept the titles. They should have kept the titles on the Wolves, especially if not knowing where that next television deal is. Just fucking, oh man, you got Brock Lesnar, who can fucking wait 16 fucking years to defend his titles. And you go to TNA and he's like, what? You might be injured? All right, fuck it, switch titles now. Drop it to the turnbuckle. With that said, it was a really shitty situation to this day. Some people in the comments were like, oh, you don't understand the storyline. I understand the storyline. It wasn't that difficult to follow. It was just bad, But the good thing is you had this great 4-way match. I enjoyed it. I'm a Dragon Gate fan. I'm a Cruiserweight fan. I'm a Lucha fan. So to me, what made me fall in love with TNA originally was the X Division. And this reminded me a little bit of the old school X Division. I hope they add a lot more people to the X Division. Low-key winning it seems like, after Turnbuckle, seems like the best champion to have. And plus, that will lead to a low-key Samoa Joe feud. They lost the finals to the Hardys, and now they're going for the title. And it doesn't have to be – they're such great athletes, it doesn't have to be the stupid fucking storyline. It's just like, hey, let's see who's the best. So I look forward to Samoa Joe low-key feud, and I hope they add some more. I thought this or the women's match. These two matches were really good. But DJZ versus Tiger Uno versus Manic versus Low Key, and your winner was Low Key. He hit a key crusher off the top rope, and it was really exciting to watch. So yeah, this is one of those matches I think it's worth watching, and the women's match. So both matches were really good. 2 new champions. And boom, there you go. Really interesting. The more I look at it, I think, I felt like I maybe gave this Impact a win for sentimental reasons because the last one on Impact. But I really think that it was pretty damn good. This last promo is a bit much. Kurt Angle, MVP, they're building up a feud. MVP thinks Kurt Angle is gonna fire him, but they start brawling out. And then Kenny King is there, and then Mr. Anderson runs down, and then Mr. Anderson gets speared by Bobby Lashley. I apologize. I get my Bobbies confused. They look exactly alike. I'm just kidding. But you're a Bobbyist. Yes, I am. But Bobby Lashley comes out and spears him. One thing I like, and it's a small detail. I love the small details. I'm a small detail type of guy because it just adds. The small details to me is what brings you into the kayfabe zone. It's what makes you believe. When you go to watch Magic, when you go to watch pro wrestling, or when you go to watch a play or a musical or anything, that has to do with almost live performances, you want to be sucked up in that zone, especially live performances that tell a story. And sometimes the smallest details get you sucked up in the zone. And one of the small details that I liked was Kenny King and Bobby Lashley not fighting because they were friends at one time. And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. He's not going to spear him. I don't know. I just thought that was a bit cool. It was like, oh, it's my little brother. But then Bobby Roode comes out, throws Kenny King into the cage. Not cage, the railings, the side railings. I apologize. I get a little punch drunk here. And it leads to Bobby Roode and Bobby Lashley yelling at each other, saying, hey, we're going to fight. And Lashley looking all pissed off. So it leads up to a couple months now. They'll have some MMA fights, Bobby Lashley. In a couple months, we'll have MVP Kurt Angle as the new feud, and Bobby Roode, Bobby Lashley continuing a feud once we get to Destination America. So overall, I thought it was really good. I'm a little sad, a little happy. Happy they're going to Destination America. Hopefully that it makes the product better. But a little sad that they're leaving Spike TV. Like I said, I've been a TNA. I don't want to say fan, because you think fan, you support them no matter what. I've been a TNA supporter since day one. So it was nice to see that. All right. Boom. Boom. Oh, thank you so much for the live comments. Let's see. Any live comments? Boop, 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 boop. All right. Give me a second. I apologize. Thanks again for the live comments. Really appreciate it. Especially considering I did it so late. Sorry about that, TNA fans. Perp13, P-U-R-P 13 says, Destination America is some obscure channel on an American satellite network. TNA would have been better served to have Impact broadcast live on a YouTube channel. Yeah, but the thing is, television, you have the ad networks, you have respectability, but I really do believe it. I don't know if Perp is just being mean. I really do believe that in the future, a lot of these smaller feds should do live on YouTube. I don't see a problem with that. I would love to see an all internet thing, but it's just people love television so much. People that run the businesses love television. You got to remember at one time when they were going from weekly pay-per-views to Fox Sports Net, they had an all internet one. I watched it. It wasn't too bad. And that was when Raven was champion. Raven got to be the champion toward the internet area. And, yeah, I don't understand. They do put up a lot of stuff on YouTube. One thing, I hope they worked out a deal, and I don't know the details of the deal. I hope Destination America, it is a very hard channel to find. I never heard of it, but then again, I live in Japan, and I think it only in half the households that Spike TV was in, so that you're already cutting your audience in half. I hope that they have permission to show it. Put it on their own YouTube channel. Like, still have it on their network, but maybe wait a day or two and then put it on YouTube. So yeah, I don't know if Perp 13 is just trying to be mean, but I understand. But I would love to see them do something on YouTube one day. But the problem is with YouTube too is that they're very big. It's almost easier to do stuff on television than YouTube these days. So, but yeah, I would love to see an all online thing. I don't think you could do it. I don't think WWE could do it successfully because they make too much money. Maybe Impact if there was forced to it, but I could see a smaller company do it and even do what Lucha Underground does, just give away a lot of their stuff on the internet too. So yeah, I don't know much about Destination America, to be honest, because I haven't lived there in a while, but yeah, your comment is pretty accurate. All right, Lennox Wooderson. The show ended with what some may consider former WWE guys, but MVP, Lashley, and Anderson have had their best moments at TNA. while the Angle has put in more years at TNA, Angle has put in more years at TNA than WWE. They're all TNA guys in my eyes. Has this kind of branding hurt the business and TNA? Yes and no. The problem is, you had the main event mafia. They just came in and destroyed everyone. Like Christian came in. You have to go one by one. But the problem with TNA and why so many people say, oh, they're former WWE guys, is because Dixie didn't. I don't want to pick Dixie, but fuck it. She's in charge. We're going to blame her. Dixie didn't have the balls to stand up and say, no, we need to make our stars look as equal. Dixie just let him come over and run over. Now, did all WWE guys do great stuff? Some of them were absolute garbage. I'm looking at you, Booker T, Kevin Nash. Some of them were just garbage. Some of them really improved. I thought the Dudleys, Gail Kim, you got your couple. But the problem is they caused this own problem. TNA guys, like, Kurt Angle has been in TNA longer than he's been in WWE. But if you go to anyone on the street, what's Kurt Angle? Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles both said this in shoot interviews. Yeah, that's great that you have Kurt Angle and he's well known. But every time they're seen in the airport, they're like, oh, where are you wrestling now? Ron Van Dam said that. Kevin Nash said that. So what you have to do is, as a booker / promoter, you have to protect your talent and bring them in. Look what Vince McMahon did with WCW. It was horrible for the fans, but he blended in. You know who's the best at this? Dana White. Dana White has a shitload of Pride fighters, but he didn't bring them all in at once. He brought them in little by little. He brought them in little by little. He brought, you know what I'm saying? So, like, when they had D'Lo Brown, Christian, okay, that made sense. But then when you overdid it, and the main event mafia is the perfect example, that's just overdoing it, then you can never forget that, because every guy on your roster, in most people's eyes, is second rate, and everyone that you brought in is because like, here's an example. What if the UFC brought all the Pride guys in at once, and they all won the titles? It would have made UFC look weak. Like, well, yeah, you bought Pride, but Pride's way better. But no, you bring in an Anderson Silva. Then you bring in a Dan Henderson. Then you bring in a Rampage Jackson. I don't know if I don't know who came first. The chicken or the egg, Dan Anderson or Rampage Jackson. But you get the idea. The problem with that is when Jarrett was running it, he brought the guys in slowly and did it. D'Lo Brown was putting people over. Christian was great because he chose TNA. But then you have like 20 fucking guys come in and fucking destroy your roster. That stigma is never going away. It's never going away. You're like, oh, you let AJ Styles go, but you still have Christy Hemme collecting a paycheck? You're out of your fucking mind. And as an old school TNA fan is, oh, they're still an us versus them. Like, there's a couple guys that I'll say, oh, okay, maybe. Like, Kurt Angle, I think, is on the fence. Kurt Angle's on the fence. I think Team 3D did their job. I think Gail Kim did her job. Christian did her job. D'Lo Brown did her job. I'm trying to think. EC3, the new Knockouts champion. But the list after that is like, no. Like the Hardys. The Hardys didn't do their fucking job. They're just WWE guys who beat up TNA guys. That's it. They didn't fucking help anyone. They didn't do anything. I'm trying to think who. Yeah, and even Kurt Angle. Kurt Angle beat everyone. No. I put Kurt Angle as still a WWE guy. And the problem is because they didn't do what Dana White did. There was a time where all the Pride guys were champions in UFC, but no one said, everyone said, oh, UFC is better than Pride. Oh, why? Oh, well, we got Anderson Silva. But you're like, yeah, but Anderson Silva came from Pride, but he did it. He was smart about it. And I think Dixie Carter didn't know what she was doing and then went from there. All right, let's see. Oh, we just got a bunch of comments in at the same time. What change would you like to see with TNA turns? Marketing, talent, production, percentage, presentation. When TNA returns, I just, marketing-wise, just get it out there any way you can. Even guerrilla marketing. As far as the marketing goes, I do a lot what Lucha Underground is doing. Lucha Underground just came on the scene and fucking rocked ass. It's just I would steal a lot of stuff from Lucha Underground. As far as talent goes, I would just start looking for fresh talent. I would actually work out a deal with Lucha Underground. I know they signed Del Rio, and Del Rio also signed with Lucha Underground. I would do deals like that. I mean, you're on, what Perp 13 calls an obscure channel. Start working with people. Start working with people. Back in the day when TNA was small, they worked with people. I mean, right now, they had relationships where they burnt the bridge with New Japan. They had relationships where they burnt the bridge with Ring of Honor. They had relationships with, Jarrett and all that. You could have had such a great thing going. I would try to build up those relationships again and try to get talent. Production-wise, I wouldn't change anything. I would keep it the same. I mean, you could the thing is, production-wise, people are going to say, "Oh, you're trying to be like WWE." Well, look at Lucha Underground; they're so different. But the problem is, then if you look that different, they're like, "Oh, so you're trying to be like Lucha Underground." TNA kind of fucked themselves after 11, 12 years of being exactly the same production-wise as WWE or WWE Light, as I would say production-wise. There can't. And presentation, I would just keep it the same. I would just pay attention to talent. I would pay attention to talent, see who really has to be there. I mean, the fact that you have Jeff Hardy, Christy Hemme, and not AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels, someone who's been watching from day one will always have a little bit of bitterness in their heart for WWE guys. Mr. The King says, give it a tie. Mr. The King also says the brawl at the beginning was terrible. Yeah. I don't like brawls too much because if the brawls ain't broken up right away, or if the brawls got to be quick and done, I would rather have cheap shots and security break them up, because the brawl just makes it look fake, and you don't want to. It gets you out of the zone, especially the longer it is. Like TNA would be like, we're going to have a riot for 20 minutes. And it's like, no, just fucking no. But yeah, I'm not a big fan of brawls and all that, especially because it gets you out of the zone. It gets you out of, oh, well, this shit obviously isn't real. And that's something you don't want to do. Tiffany Nicole says, I love Dragon Gate, PWG. I can watch them because I love the characters. I can watch a shit WWE show because I love the characters, but I can't get into any of TNA people except Derek Bateman, EC3. Why? What is wrong with TNA or me? No, it's just an Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, Dragon Gate. They have great characters because they care. They have one creative team that cares, and they go with it. The problem with TNA and characters is just they have no leadership. They have no creative leadership. And they're like, all right, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to do that. And it's very inconsistent. And the big thing is Dragon Gate, Pro Wrestling Guerrilla, and they go out of their way to make people stronger. They go out of their way to hide the weaknesses and protect them. I think that's what TNA has to improve at. I think EC3 is amazing. I think Spud, Bobby Roode, Bobby Lashley to an extent. As far as characters go, I think that's about it. I mean, I like the Wolves, but I don't think I like them because they're characters. I just think I like them because they're great wrestlers. But yeah, I just think that's a creative thing. But yeah, I understand where you're going with that. Well, thanks again for the live comments. Boom, boom. Let me make some plugs. And then Perp 13 says TNA should have stuck to beefing up their tag division, X division. Instead, we have WWE Light for a while. And Perp 13, give yourself a Barry Horowitz. That's a great comment. Well said. Something I was trying to talk about for the last 5 minutes, you summed up in 2 sentences. That was a great point. I'm going to read it one more time. Perp 13 says TNA should have stuck up, beefing up their tag divisions and X division instead of had WWE Light for a while. And I agree. You hit a home run right there, Perp 13. Congratulations. All right, I'm going to plug my website and blog and all that fun stuff. And then while that, you guys got your last seconds for comments. And if not, we'll have to wrap up the show. All right, here we go. Please like, comment, subscribe. We did a Survivor Series preview. We're going to be doing an ROH review and also Lucha Underground review within the next 24 hours. We're hoping that slowly but surely we become your #1 stop for wrestling reviews, and we keep expanding the shows. Also, check out our blog. Jerry, David Cooey, and the guys are really working hard on it. Slowly but surely, we're going to be adding more people. We're hoping one day that we could be your #1 source for news. And we just hope to keep improving for that. All right, so please check out kocosports.net. Also, like, comment, subscribe, and check out the other videos we did. We did a lot of videos this week. We're trying to get to it. All right, and I don't see any more live comments. Let's just go across the board. Boop, boop. I know it's late, so it's okay. You break my heart with your live comments. Oh! Andy Pap says, hashtag I'm with Spud. All right. Yeah, Spud's been doing a good job. I like Spud. I really do. And boom, boom, boom. And I think that's... Oh, no. Lennox Wooderson, you get the last comment. In TNA's history, who would you say were the best and worst top guys? What guys should be top guys going forward? Oh, this is a great question. Best top guys. I know I'm going to get some heel heat for this, but I believe it. I enjoyed it. I think I was in a minority, but I understood it. I thought Jeff Jarrett was a great top guy. AJ Styles. I believe that they should have been great top guys, but they weren't given a chance. I always thought Daniels was awesome. Samoa Joe was awesome. And they had some great tag teams like Triple X, America's Most Wanted, Beer Money, Motor City Machine Guns. Just some great tag teams. They had some really great talent. Worst top guys, I think Hardy, Sting, Main Event Mafia. And I know not everyone's going to agree. Someone will be like, oh, that's my favorite guy. But if you were running a company and it was your job to help TNA, you wouldn't just bring them in and have them win. But yeah, I thought a lot of those guys were bad top guys. Hulk Hogan I thought was horrible for the company. I know someone will be like, well, he made more money. Did he really? The ratings didn't go up. It cost you a lot. You did get overseas accounts, but once your television deal was up, you were like, oh, well, those overseas accounts really don't make that much money. Well, then Hulk Hogan was a fucking waste of goddamn money and time. I was never a big fan of Hulk Hogan. I thought Kurt Angle at one time was a really good top guy, and then I thought he was a horrible top guy. I thought Christian did a great job being on top for a while. Raven, but no one watched that. Like, it was in between. I thought Raven did a pretty good job being the top guy, but no one watched it. Jeff Jarrett, he gets a lot of heat, but I really enjoyed Jeff Jarrett. Top guys going forward, EC3, Bobby Roode, without a doubt. They should be it. The Wolves, I'm trying to think who else. Samoa Joe. They never gave Samoa Joe his proper due respect, in my opinion. I know when he first came out, he had the undefeated streak, the X Division, but it's like after that, as soon as Hogan arrived, it just killed my Samoa Joe little heart. Yeah, I think that's it. I think Rude, EC3 should be it, and the Wolves, and that. Maybe you can still have Bobby Lashley because you have the MMA thing, but you have to hide his weaknesses. I think Kenny King should be pushed a lot higher than he is. I'd like to see Magnus come back, but I think there's something wrong with Magnus's head, dude. Magnus is a weird fucking person, bro. If you follow him on Twitter and you listen to his interviews, he is really fucking weird. But I thought Magnus was really good on top. And Spud, I could see it. Maybe not as a top guy, but definitely high mid-carder. He's just... I don't know if he should win championships and all that, but I think Spud definitely deserves a spot on the card. So that's what I think. Hopefully that answered your question, Lennox Wooderson. But thank you for such a great last question. I really appreciate it. All right. Please check out kocosports.net. Like, comment, subscribe. In a little bit, I'm going to try to do a Ring of Honor review, and I'm also going to try to do a Lucha Underground review. So please subscribe. Subscribe. Go to kocosports.net. Leave comments. All right. Thank you so much, Perp13, Mr. the King, Lennox Wooderson, Tiffany Nicole for the live comments. I don't know where you live, but I live in Tokyo, and most of the rest of the world is probably like crazy time slots, so I really appreciate it. Perp13, thank you for the comments. And you're a new commenter that I didn't recognize. Lennox Wooderson, Mr. the King, Tiffany Nicole. They're high-ranking members of the internet infantry. Burp, I hope you stay around. All right. Check out KocoSports.net. Did I say that enough? Well, go do it. Go check it out. It's pretty nice. It's shiny. You click a couple things. Stay a while. Leave a couple comments. We'll keep improving it. I promise. All right. With that, oops, I'm on the wrong page. With that, I am over. Bum, 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 ba-dum, ba-dum.